alignment, manifestation, synchronicity, dark night of the soul. What does it all mean? Is the woo sometimes a little too woo for you? Join me as I break it all down on Decoding the Woo Woo with Dana Sardano. Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is Decoding the Woo Woo. Welcome, and thank you for joining me. Decoding the Woo Woo is a show that I created because I wanted to clarify some of the misconceptions of the spiritual community. And I wanted to break down some of the heady and esoteric concepts and really demystify the cryptic and magical nature of the woo and remind all of us that we are all woo. We are all spiritual beings here to have an experience, to learn, to grow, to expand, and to hopefully do it with love and joy in our hearts. Unfortunately, life gets a little rough sometimes. We get a little banged up. We forget all that, and we sometimes lose our way. So through my we'll call it colorful, but my colorful, extensive experience in a personal development and self-discovery, I've learned so much along the way. And essentially, I made it my mission to assist others in doing the same, because what I would have done for a guidebook. So I'm here just to break it down. I'm here to just be a resource for those who are looking to create a better experience, a better life, a better world for themselves. And hopefully I can assist. So with that said, I'd love to give you a little recap of the last few episodes. This is episode 5 of a two-part series, I guess, called The Aspects of You. And this part 1 is about building your foundation. So the episodes that led up to this episode really focused on our foundation, understanding how our beliefs create our experience, understanding the tools that we have, that we were born with, our senses, our intuition, our chakra system, our emotional and physical guidance systems, and understanding how those tools assist us in better understanding ourselves and the world around us. So I really focused a lot on that. The last episode 4, I talked about basically the long and the short of the practicality of the chakra system. And when you understand your chakras, the how they develop, the ages of resonance, and the aspects of yourself that correspond with those chakras, and how it can knock them out of balance when your energy centers aren't flowing freely, and really just to give you an understanding of how to utilize that system to assist you in navigating the world around you. So now we're up to speed. Today, I want to talk about those foundational chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus, and how the aspects of you that correspond with those chakras, when they're out of balance, really specifically how you can bring them back into balance. So I got a list of questions here that, so get a pen and a piece of paper, but a list of questions that can help you in that self-discovery to figure out what's imbalanced and what's out of balance, in case, it's not obvious to you in the moment. But before we get started, I want to do my favorite thing. I want to pull a card for you. So for those of you who are new to me and new to the show, I created a deck of cards a few years back with my artwork, with my dear friend Anne-Marie Scorney, and her super profound, super insightful, super empowering channeled messages. Today, I pulled this one. So the painting is Goddess Mommy. It's a little baby hugging its mother and kissing. Okay. The message on the card is soul alignment. Within, in the center of balance, is your natural state of gravitation. It is the optimum condition. When all is in alignment, all flows in perfect harmony. To feel at peace is to feel this balance. It is usually fleeting, but as you continue with effort to reconcile the imbalances held as truth, the lengthier this state becomes until it is your way of being. Soul alignment is necessary and integral for forward progression. It is possible, know this is not out of reach. The reason I pulled this card today is because it's important that we understand that we are all just an amalgamation of different aspects of ourselves, from our confidence to our creativity, to our ability to love, to our feelings of safety and security, to our authenticity. We're all these different aspects. And through our experiences in life, these aspects can fall out of balance based on beliefs that we hold as truth, right? Continue with effort to reconcile the imbalances held as truth. So when we have these experiences in life and we glean our truth from them, our beliefs, if our belief is out of balance, if it's not based, if it's irrational, if it's an irrational belief based on a trauma, maybe in a stage of development that is much younger and less mature than where we are. Okay, that was completely convoluted. Let me restate that. When we have an experience, a trauma that has created an unresolved emotional experience, we can attach beliefs to it that are not necessarily rational and that do not serve us. And then we carry them through life, and we create coping mechanisms, and we carry those through life as well. We create imbalances in aspects of ourselves that when in balance, everything flows freely. So just as an example, if I was a child, 6 years old, and my brother hit me, and my mother allowed it, I learned at 6 years old that the people that love me not only don't care for me and don't protect me, but they mistreat me. I learned that when I feel hurt and I express that hurt through tears, through yelling, through whatever it is, I am shut down. Therefore, my needs don't matter. I learned that at 6 years old. I carry that belief throughout my life, which creates imbalances in my worthiness. It creates imbalances in my authenticity, my ability to speak my truth. It creates imbalances in my ability to love without condition, because I carry fear when I love. That one experience creates so many irrational beliefs that create so many imbalances as I continue to develop in my life. And those imbalances create patterns of behavior. Make sense? It's pretty serious stuff. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down, we're going to ask ourselves some of the questions and figure out what our beliefs are about ourselves so we can reconcile those imbalances in those different aspects of ourselves. Make sense? Grab a notebook. This is going to be fun. Okay. So I want to pull up some of the questions because I don't want to miss anything. So let's start with our root chakra. Our root chakra, greatest age of resonance, is between 0 and 7. And if there's any kind of trauma during that time, or even lack of security, lack of organization, structure, expectations, any of that. Remember, we're little kids. We need all sorts of expectations set. We need all sorts of organization and structure in our lives. It could be as blanket as that, or there could be a trauma that has not been properly processed. If we could feel feelings of insecurity. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Am I insecure around others? Do I try too hard to be liked or accepted? What are my go-tos to be liked or accepted? Do I think I will be accepted if I don't lean on these go-tos? So this is something to think about. When we have imbalances in our root chakra, we have feelings of insecurity. So think about how we take that throughout our lives. Think about the people that you know that act insecurely. That comes from experiences in our childhood. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to ask yourself these questions. And then if you do have insecurities, trace back to where they come from, because there's always a root cause to these. Okay, the second one is your feelings of being safe, safety. Do I feel that I have to control my exterior circumstances? Do I fear the unknown? Do I worry about what will become of me? So let's think about this for a second. Many of us have fears or align with fearful propaganda and don't even realize it, because we carry fears from our childhood. What am I afraid of? Why don't I feel safe? What was my experience as a child that led me to feeling unsafe? That has created an alignment with fears that are essentially not rational. There's a healthy fear. I'm not going to step in front of a truck because I fear for my safety. That makes sense because it's very clear what the consequence of stepping in front of that truck is. But all these fears that surround us about things that are not even relevant to us come from a place of not feeling safe within, which come from a place, an experience that created those imbalances. Make sense? Okay. The last one is about grounding and stability. Okay. Do I feel like if I don't control things, they will get away from me? We hear about micromanagers all the time, trying to control all the details because there's a lack of stability. There's a lack of feeling like grounded or in control of yourself. Do I feel like if I take my eye off the ball, the rug will be pulled out from underneath me? How is my physicality? Because that comes with that sense of stability. Do I take care of my body? Do I feel good and strong in my body? Is my body healthy and strong? Do I nurture it by giving it what it needs to function properly? This is all root chakra stuff. These are all the aspects of your safety, security, stability, and grounding. Between the ages of 0 and 7 is what created these imbalances. So if any of these questions that you're answering make you start questioning your senses of safety and security and grounding and stability, it's something worth going back and looking at. Okay, your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra, right here, represented in orange, greatest age of resonance is between 7 and 14. Okay? This is about your passion, your creativity, your sexuality, your sensuality, your sense of intimacy, your sense of enjoyment, your freedom of guilt. That was a big one for me, big one. So I have some questions. As far as your passion is concerned, am I doing what really lights me up? Do I find I'm doing more of what I have to do than what I want to do? Am I excited about life? Many of us aren't doing what we want to do. Many of us are doing our 9-to-5 or following the rules, paying the bills, on the grind, the hamster wheel, and we're not doing things that bring us passion. That could be a result of a trauma within the ages of 7 and 14, or the faulty root chakra. You've built the sacral chakra upon that, and you lose your passion for life because you live in fear, because you lack stability. People fall into depression. Remember, that's a tough age too, 7 to 14. The next one is your level of creativity. Some questions you can ask yourself. Am I exercising my creativity? How do I exercise my creativity? Am I the creator of my reality, or does shit just happen to me? Do I understand that every thought, emotion, and action contribute to the creation of my reality? So you have two sorts of creations going on here. You have the exercising your natural creative gifts, whatever they look like. And you have the understanding that everything I think, feel, believe creates my reality. Now, if you, as from 7 to 14, have been stunted in any way, maybe you come from a controlling home, maybe you've not been properly supported, maybe you're built on a faulty foundation, maybe you've had serious trauma, and you feel like life happens to you and nobody's taught you that there's consequence for your behavior, that how you think and how you feel and how you behave creates the outcome, then you're going to believe life happens to you. And you're going to lose all sense of creativity, all sense of desire to navigate your experience because life just happens to you. And then you're going to build upon those belief systems. So those are some questions you could ask yourself. The next one is your sexuality and sensuality. Think about the ages, 7 and 14. That's puberty. Some of the questions you want to ask yourself. Have I lost that loving feeling? Has it gone? Oh, yes, I think I'm funny. How comfortable am I with my sexuality? Do I ever use my sexuality as a weapon? Am I comfortable with communicating my needs? Do I attach shame to sexuality? Now, maybe we come from a stifled home that sexuality is a sin. Maybe we have had some sort of abuse sexually, and it has shifted our way of looking at sexuality. But if there is shame attached to sexuality, it's something to look at. Okay. Intimacy. Am I uncomfortable with physical intimacy? Am I able to show vulnerability, which creates intimacy with others? It was a huge one for me because intimacy isn't just about sex. It's being able to be vulnerable and open and giving of yourself. But if I live in fear, if I attach shame to any kind of physical contact, if I'm uncomfortable with myself or whatever these experiences are in these formative years, it's going to affect my level of intimacy, which is an important aspect of ourselves when we want to get close to another person. Okay, the next one. This is the big one. Enjoyment. Enjoyment. How often do I engage in activities just because I enjoy them? Without a purpose, without doing it for somebody else, without I have to, just because they're fun. Something to think about. Do I tend to do things I enjoy solely for outcome? You know, I think about when I started painting. I painted because it felt good. And then I started painting because I wanted to achieve something. I wanted to be known as an artist. I wanted to even make money. I had that drive in me. Some things I have to reconcile. But when I first started painting, it turned into that. And then I had to remind myself, I paint because it feels good. Because there's a young baby Dana artist version of me that just wants to paint. And I had to learn, because my sacral chakra was all banged up, I had to learn to go back to doing things just because they felt good. And then they naturally expand to cool, bigger, better things. But the intention is of the joy of doing it. So do I do things just to feel the joy, just for the enjoyment? Do I feel guilty if I just do things for fun without any other agenda? Oh my God, guilt is a huge one. I always felt guilty if I was doing something for me or for fun because there had to be some sort of outcome or it had to be for someone else because that's where my imbalances were. What do I enjoy? What do I enjoy? Some people don't even know what they enjoy anymore because they're so used to just functioning and surviving and dealing with the fears that they carry. But I want to talk a little bit more about guilt before we move on, because guilt is a big one. I always tout, guilt is a wasted emotion. Like, I'm not going to carry guilt because, what's the point of, feeling guilty? You're just turning in your own shame and your own self-loathing. And why would I feel guilty if I made a decision to act a certain way? But I'll tell you, the guilt that I carried around food for years was tremendous, because this is all about sensations also. These aspects of yourself that want to feel, to taste food and feel joy and enjoy the sights and the sounds and all of these things just for the sake of enjoyment. But I carried guilt for eating because somewhere during my sacral chakra, there was all sorts of trauma around my body. So when I ate food, it made me gross because it made me look a certain way. It's amazing how these beliefs about ourselves are hidden. They're hidden in these dark recesses. And when we take the time to ask ourselves these questions and to look at them, you'd be amazed at what you'd uncover. So let's move on. Okay. Your solar plexus chakra. Your solar plexus chakra, yellow right here, greatest age of residence is between 14 and 21. And the greatest aspects of the solar plexus chakra are your sense of worthiness, your sense of identity, your sense of confidence and empowerment, self-esteem, I am, right? So when you have all of this dysfunction in these earlier areas with these earlier aspects, you step into an identity that, again, may lack worthiness. You may not feel like you're enough. You may lack confidence. So here's some questions you can ask yourself. Am I worthy of and empowered to pursue my purpose? Do I self-sabotage? That's a good one. Is there a little voice deep within that thinks I'm not worthy of the life I desire? Because you can say it all you want, but if internally you believe otherwise, I deserve and I want and this is what I'm going to do. But if inside you feel you're not worthy of it, you're never going to align with the life that you desire. So again, important questions to ask yourself. Do I feel, oh my God, this was me forever? Do I feel that I have to prove my worth? Oh my God. Everything about my experience up until that point, I thought I had to prove myself. I had to prove my love. I had to prove my worth. I had to prove my being. I had to prove all of it. In what ways do I prove my worth? For me, it was overcompensating. Give. I'm going to prove it. Then you have to love me and you have to see who I am. All this false bravado about how great I am because I had to prove my worth. It's crazy. But when we look at these things and we realize that they come from these places, these experiences, we can reconcile these imbalances. Broken Record Hour by Dana Sardano once again, but you get my point. Okay. Identity. Ooh. Am I overly concerned about what others think of me? Have I created a persona? Right? I was tough girl Dana, 14 to 21, because I overcome. I'm strong. I'm proud. If so, is this persona in alignment with my true self? Not really. Do I allow other people's opinions of me to alter my true identity? Not anymore. Has my identity shifted with my personal growth, or am I still attached to my previous identity? As we evolve and we start to become, danger strikes and we revert back to that old version of ourselves. You know what I mean? If there's any kind of, something steps in to trigger an old pattern, it's easy to fall back. Do I do that? Do I feel I have to prove myself so as to fit into the identity that I've chosen for myself? Everybody wants to attach themselves. I am this and I am that. And everybody wants to attach themselves to some sort of identity. But really, just by being, not only do you not have to attach yourself, you don't have to declare it. I'm going to move on to confidence. Do I exude self-confidence, or is it an act of self-protection? Am I confident enough in myself to detach from what no longer serves me? Setting the boundaries, speaking your mind. And lastly, self-esteem. Am I comfortable with myself? Am I enough? Do I treat myself with the same respect that I treat others? Do I hold myself to standards that align with a healthy self-esteem? These are all questions that it's important that you take the time, even after this episode, either write them down or go back and pause or whatever you want to do it and really contemplate, because you'll learn so much about yourself and the foundation that you're building. And I know it's daunting, but just pick one at a time. Ooh, my self-esteem. Ooh, I'm insecure. Oh, I carry a lot of guilt and I don't enjoy the things that, why shouldn't I? The things that I should enjoy. One at a time, and just address it. And then do things for you to help bring these things back into balance. Because this is the foundation for your upper chakras. In our next episode, episode 6, we're going to talk about how this stuff affects your heart chakra and questions we could ask ourselves about the heart chakra. How this stuff affects your throat chakra and questions we could ask ourselves. Third eye, questions we could ask ourselves. And crown, questions we could ask ourselves. So it's exciting because it puts the power in your hands, and then you can navigate the world around you because you brought all your aspects into alignment. So before I close, in the last few episodes, I've talked about 10 commandments for personal empowerment. I've talked about the soul traveler cards. I've talked about decoding the woo woo, but I didn't talk about this one. This is a book that I wrote. This is the first book that I wrote, actually, called Veda Finds Her Crown. And it's a little story. I initially wrote it for adolescents, but oh my God, I've done workshops for adults. It's good for caretakers and teachers, but it's a little story, the first half of the book. And, I illustrated little kids. They go on a little adventure, help Veda find her crown. And the second part of the book, the second half of the book, is a workbook. And there's areas for journaling. And basically, it's really about the practicality of our chakra system, understanding these balances and imbalances and really doing the work. I bring it to your attention because if you see value in this work, I highly, highly recommend this. Or if you homeschool a child or if you have a child, I highly recommend this. I always feel weird because it's like a shameless book plug, but I'm writing this stuff. I'm doing this stuff to assist others, to assist you in your journey. So if this is something that speaks to you, and you think it could be helpful, you can go to phenom-publishing.com. And if you want to know about anything that I do, any of the books, any of my creative pursuits to assist others with empowerment, enlightenment, spiritual development, all of it, you can go to ubuntufishgallery.com. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. We're here to uplift, to empower ourselves, and to assist one another. And I hope that I'm assisting you in this process. So as always, thank you. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time when we talk about magic, the upper chakras. But until then, Ubuntu.